Hey guys, Ranch here, bringing us StarCraft commentary. This is going to be the first set in Group H of the Ro32 of the Hana Daetoo MSL. This is going to be between Stats and Shuttle. On Fighting Spirit, we're going to have Stats at the upper left-hand corner as the brown Protoss player. That means we're going to have Shuttle at the bottom left-hand corner as the, red Protoss player. So PvP group coming at you guys. Going to be lots of PvP action. Some people probably expecting some upsets. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the two players playing that I think players are expecting a little bit more from, expecting a little bit more action from, and you know, overall are rooting for. But we're going to see what's going to happen here. 39, 40, 41, syncing purposes. I don't know why, but it feels like it's been a while since I cast a PvP, and I know that's not true. There have been some PvPs, some very nice PvPs, in fact, in this group already, in this round of 32 already, but maybe it's just been a while, I don't know. Feels that way sometimes. And sometimes I don't really know what to expect out of a PvP, because back in the old days, when I still walked, you know, when I still didn't need a cane. Yeah, back in my day, I guess, it's strange being saying that, but back in my day, especially just before I started casting these, when I started watching, you know, PvPs were shuttles, reavers, goons. Done. That was it. You had shuttles, you had reavers, and you had dragoons, and that was it. And we were happy with that, damn it. We didn't need no hot Templars. We didn't need no anything else. But yeah. Stat's going to get a little bit lucky to start off. I think he actually scouted in the right direction, while Shuttle went cross position with his probe. So it's going to, depending on where he goes after that, whether he sends out a second probe or not, could take him a little while to counter scout Stats. Now, of course, one of the more popular things to go for, aside from a Goon Reaver Heavy, is, of course, going for some DT rushes, or not necessarily rushes, even just DT builds. Basically start off with some DTs, hope you get lucky, try to pick off a probe or two, or 10, rather, and then just macro up and get your Goon army, and hope that you did enough economic damage, and that you can, you know, fight back his Reaver in time for an economic lead, for your economic lead to kick in. So that's how it sometimes get complicated. And this first-person view stayed for an age. Kind of complicated sometimes because, of course, players, when played, they sometimes change their color palette so that they themselves are teal and their opponents are red. It's some players that for some players that's just an automatic. You build your first worker, you do your split, and then you instantly change your color. Or I assume that's the way it goes. But Gateway Core, to start off for both players, is going to be seeing some zealots. Oh, and yeah, Stats gets probe through. I thought he sent out a probe much earlier on. I saw him send down a probe numbers, but apparently he didn't. Maybe he actually went cross position when I thought he went for the lower left hand. But he got that probe in really quickly, right past the zealot. Didn't even have to do any sort of trickery, just right past that on the opposite side. Actually, interestingly enough, Stats has one zealot at the back, and only one on the ramp. So still managing to block the probe with it, though, getting his range on a course. So I think this is actually going to be more standard play. We're going to see whether the robotics facilities are going to be the next buildings to follow up, and Stats being, yeah, just running around with that probe inside. And one of the things I feel I don't see as much lately as I did in the old days were manor pylons. I don't know, I've seen some PvPs and I don't see as many manor pylons than I used to. Also because PvP is a little bit different these days. You get to see sometimes some other stuff. Robotics facility going to come up for Shuttle. Still don't see any additional tech for Stats. Let's see what he decides to go for. Wondering whether he's actually thinking of expanding before anything else. But yeah. Right now it's a little bit more zealot heavy, and Stats is gonna go for an expo, I think, or actually, yeah, he's gonna go for an expo before anything else. Then he's gonna work on his pardon me. Then he's gonna work on his tag. Couple dragoons are they able to? Oh no, probe spots the nexus. So deal for Shuttle now gonna be to go out there, try to do some economic harassment. He's gonna have his reavers way ahead. Hopefully for him he doesn't get observers first, because he really might want to, you know, just get some reavers out there. Wants to go out there and do some harassment. Another possibility would be just plop down a bunch of gateways and go for full on all in. But no, he's just gonna get his robotics facility up and get counter expansion, I guess. Just, yeah, getting his own expansion. It's going to be a little bit later, but he is going to have a tech advantage to start things off. As the game goes on, it's going to become a non-factor, but he does get his robotic support bay up alongside another gateway. He does have his goon range on the way, so he's going to be able to get some Reavers out there to do some harassment. Stats probe, of course, no longer in there, but he did get all the scouting information he needed at the time when he did. Still no expansion on the way for him. Adding in that gateway, probably waiting just on some additional resources before he can do that. 3 gateways on the opposite side. So for now, Stats apparently, meanwhile, just going to focus on getting some decent Dragoon production going before he goes for any sort of Dragoons, for any sort of Reavers, or Shuttles. But of course, this could come out well for him because he's going to have a larger Dragoon count. And if he manages to snipe that Reaver, snipe that Shuttle as it comes in for harassment, or if it comes in alongside him, if he manages to snipe that Shuttle, that's going to be it. That's his advantage will become very large. He'll be able to get his own Reavers out there in time to hold up the numbers, and just the fact that Shuttle came in behind economically and came in ahead in tech is going to become a non-factor. Let's see whether he's actually going to move out with 1 Reaver and 1 Goon, actually sending his Goons downwards right now, just waiting for an initial Reaver. And I was just going to be questioning, is he going to go for some harassment, or is he actually going to go and try to break the front with some Goons, just try to go for army? He does have 6 Dragoons alongside a couple of Zealots moving down. No, that was Stats, I'm sorry. But he does have some Dragoons out there, I think 7 at this point, a couple of Zealots alongside to support. Is going to have a Dragoon and a Reaver in there, so apparently actually thinking of staying defensively right now. Stats meanwhile actually going to move in with some Dragoons, quite a few numbers of Dragoons coming in trying to snipe it, but a Reaver Scarab hits quite a large number of his Dragoons, so that's going to force Stats back. No Shuttle actually, no Shuttle for Shuttle. He should actually, interesting enough, kept the Shuttle behind, could have actually moved in closer with his Reaver, try to get an additional Scarab off of that, but just with that Reaver, 1 single Scarab helped him fight that back. So now it's just going to be a question of how he decides to go with his second Reaver going to come out. Is he going to just go out with the army, going to try to engage Stats on the ground and win that way, or is he going to try to do some economic harassment? Because the natural expo, particularly of Stats, is extremely vulnerable. There are no Dragoons back there. Observatory now on the way, so Reavers for Stats are going to be extremely late. He's going to focus on getting a larger Dragoon count than Shuttle has, and he is going to have a larger Dragoon count. So if Shuttle wants to move out and engage Goons to Goons with those Reaver supports, he might want to do that now to run with the fact that he has 2 Reavers in there to support him. He might still win this. He is going to go in there, a couple of Reavers in there, a couple of Scarabs going to go off, not hitting anything, or actually I think one of the Scarab hits one of the Dragoons, yeah. But it's just going to push Stats to the right-hand side. Still Dragoons to the ground. Reaver's going to come out, try to get some more Scarabs off. Every time those Reavers come down, Stats forced to retreat a little bit more. Just has to be very careful not to leave his Shuttle behind and not get it sniped. Now, so going to be some Dragoons on the left side. There is going to be open up a slight positioning for Stats. They might have capability to box him and going to pull the probes off the line. Reaver's going to come off. There are some Dragoons might be coming off the line. Oh, Scarabs killing a lot of those Dragoons, killing a lot of probes. Dragoons going to come up from the back, going to try to get some sniping done. Focusing down on the Reaver, some decent micro there from Shuttle, but he loses 1 Reaver, still has 1 in there, which is a little bit damaged, but still great job there from Shuttle, fighting all the Dragoons off, not allowing only allowing 1 of his Reavers to get sniped. More Dragoons coming down, so Reaver going to get sniped this time around. The Shuttle still with some decent health. Reaver going to try to get 1 Scarab up, does not manage to get sniped, but still Shuttle keeping with very good pressure. Stats, his economic advantage has now been erased at this point. All of the probes except 1, I think, at his natural expo has gone down. Shuttle's still in there, so no Reavers though, and more Dragoon reinforcements coming in for him right now. Not enough troops down there for Stats. Only a couple of Dragoons to Shuttle's 5. He has 5 gateways in there, but he cannot produce from all of them at the moment. So Shuttle's still keeping on the constant pressure. Stats looks like he's in a lot of trouble. Desperately trying to get a Dragoon number up. They can go out there and engage 5 Dragoons to 6 and try to focus down Shuttle's Dragoons. And Shuttle's desperately going to try to fight back the Dragoons so he can try to focus down that Nexus. Shuttle, more reinforcements. 1 single Dragoon reinforcement coming in for him, but it's not going to be enough. Stats going to be able to push this back for now, but he has a heavily damaged Nexus. So if Shuttle just keeps on the pressure, you might still be able to accomplish this. Waiting for 1 more Reaver. I think 1 or 2. 2 more Scarabs on that Nexus. I think 2 Scarabs, maybe 3. Actually, I don't think he has the weapon higher damage upgrade on the Reaver, so definitely 3 Scarabs. Still going to try to focus on the Nexus. Going to try to take it off. 1 more. Oh, yes. Takes down the Nexus. Stats in a lot of trouble. Was his last chance for you to get back into this to hope to hold that Nexus, keep that alive. But now Shuttle going to have even more Reavers alongside more Dragoons coming out coming up for him, and Stats in a lot of trouble. He's going to try to reestablish that fairly soon, but he's not going to be in trouble. Shuttle, meanwhile, this entire time, I did not notice at all. I thought he had got his own base up, had his own second base, but Stats was running off of significant economic advantage, while Shuttle just been producing this entire time off of one. I think he really should plop down his own Nexus at this point. I thought he was going to do that much earlier on, but he did not. But he really should put down his own Nexus, go out there and defend it. He has equalized the position quite a bit, picked off a lot of probes, picked off a lot of army, lost both of his Reavers in the process, but kept a Shuttle that did not get significantly damaged. So it's full health, full shield Shuttle. Does have another Reaver in there, so he should be able to safely put down an Expo. He really wants to do that at this point, I feel, so he can get some more gateways out there and produce more. He still has a decent army, so anything that Stats can bring him, it's not going to be possible. Observer out there for Stats, but not really a huge point at this, huge help at this point. Shuttle thinking of moving out yet again with only one single Reaver to support this time. Kind of moving in with the Dragoons a little bit too close, allowing Stats to focus fire his two initial Dragoons. One Scarab going to go off, hit a couple of those goons, and Shuttle going to yet again push him back. Just has to be very careful. He crosses this bridge, wants to have a Reaver Scarab ready. A lot of Dragoons out there in not very tight formation out there for Stats. Two Reavers in there, though. With those two Reavers, I think Shuttle's going to be able to manage this. Scarab's flying off over the place. Stats doing a decent job of splitting his Dragoons up, so the Scarabs don't become quite as effective, but still, the Scarabs is absolutely melting those Dragoons. Stats, yet again, going to get pushed back into his natural expo, forced it to cancel the Nexus yet again. And Shuttle keeping up the constant pressure, still only on one base. Both players still only sitting on one base at this point. And very extremely oversaturated stuff going on for both these players, particularly for Stats, who's been expecting to be able to put up a natural expo at this point. But just Reavers, and Reavers coming out, so giving Shuttle such an advantage at this point. He lost his two initial ones, but still managed to reproduce Reavers and just keeping that up with Dragoon support and Reavers in there. I think he has absolutely magnificent auxiliary units, heavy artillery. And I think I saw Shuttle put down a probe down there, so I think he's finally going to try to expand. Jesus, meanwhile, going to force Stats from, prevent him from expanding in his own base, because Stats has really no way of moving out except for down his own ramp. He has no Shuttle, he has no real way of doing anything. Really, just needs to barrel down his own ramp, hold this off as long as he can, and then decide to try to break through, because that's really the only thing he can do. Shuttle's still keeping significantly lower econ, but I think he's finally getting his expo up, so I'm going to try to keep that up. Finally, some robotic support. Finally, a robotic support bay up for Stats at this point, but far too late. If he gets a Reaver out there, he's going to be able. It's very good for Reaver to have on top of a ramp, because Scarabs, Reaver is much more effective when they're fighting downwards. Now an Observer actually out there for Shuttle inside of Stats' base, so he's going to spot this entire thing out. I'm going to see how this actually affects him. Whether he's going to try to go for anything funky. If Shuttle maybe tried to use those shuttles. Push up the ramp with his Dragoons and go with a Shuttle on the right side, it would be able to go in there and pretty much rape all of those probes, kill them all with a few Scarabs, and then just pull back, and that would be GG right there, because if Stats starts losing probes now, that's going to be the only thing he has for him right now, despite the fact he's losing a lot of economy. The only thing he has for him now is has a little bit of still has some sort of economy. Has a Shuttle now, so he's apparently going to actually ferry them onto the lower ground, use an elevator. But don't really know how much that's going to help him, really. There's an Observer out there for Shuttle, so you might actually spot this happening. But Stat's going to try to get his forces towards the right side, going to try to go for a sort of a pincer, have some Dragoons on the right side, and some Dragoons barely down his ramps, try to go in and box in, try to get some Reaver snipes in there. And Shuttle finally now adding in some more gateways, has his expansion going. Finally, and actually going to spot those Dragoons with the Observer at the right side, yeah. So, even if Stats tries to move out with those Dragoons, just to even go and try to harass Stats, Shuttle is going to be ready for this. He has 3 Dragoons at home, actually going to move a part of his army back home as well, I think. And Initial Reaver finally out there for Stats, but at this point he's in overall pretty bad shape. Has to go out there, has to pick up initial base, because he's losing a lot of resources inside of his main. Shuttle adding in his 4th gateway just now. But a problem is that Stats not producing Dragoons off of all of his own gateways. He has 6 of them, and I don't think he can keep constant production of Dragoons up at this point, because he's been trying to get some tech out there, trying to do something with that. Going to try to move out with some of his forces on the ground, but I don't really think he has enough numbers to do anything with. I think rather than going for the tech route, I think he may have been better served just getting as many goons as humanly possible and just try to try to barrel down that ramp. It would have been probably more suicidal than anything else. But hey, he has his own Reaver coming out now, trying to exchange some Scarabs. Try to snipe. Oh, snipes one Reaver. The Shuttle that has his own 2 Reavers. Shuttle, meanwhile, taking some damage to his own Reavers. Has already one snipe. Is very careful not to get the rest. The other one snipes. That's actually going to push him back at the moment with Reaver support and Dragoons. So at the very least holds his off for now, but still needs to get that expansion going. And Shuttle's still in quite a strong position, going to be able to continue producing forces. We're going to see where they actually meet in the middle yet again, and whether Shuttle has a second. Don't think he's gone out there and getting the second Reaver in there. Only has one single Reaver. Has to be very careful not to get that Shuttle snap down. Stats actually meanwhile has some forces that he had close to 6 o'clock, and Shuttle has enough of an army to go out there and make sure that he can go and snipe and take care of those. Nice Scarab hitting one Reaver and a bunch of those Dragoons, missing the second Dragoon. So stats, there was some decent micro. I think Shuttle overall has just more forces, despite there being a lot of Dragoon blood on all sides. More forces coming in from the north. This is the last thing that Stats has. No Dragoons to support, just some Scarabs coming off, and that's going to be it. Shuttle, way too many Dragoons. Stats going to be forced to fly away. But Shuttle in an extremely strong position. These Reavers going to go in there, try to do some damage. Going to come in there inside of Shuttle's base. That Shuttle's heavily damaged, goes down. These Reavers going to probably take one Reaver for the team. Going to get one more Scarab off, but that's going to be it. GG from Stats. So Shuttle's going to take the first set, going to move on to the winners match. And we're going to see how this group develops. We're going to see who these guys, which one of the well, stars, I suppose you could say, one of these guys faces off against. We're going to see what happens. So GG guys, watching that, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy. And I need some tea. That's what I need. I need some tea. Hey guys, Ranchin here, bringing you all the StarCraft commentary. This is going to be round 32, Group H, Set 2. Right, that's what I'm doing. On triathlon between Movie and Bisu, the other part of Bork. And oddly, the other part of Mork. So, you know, everybody's connected by Stork. That's how it is. This is going to be on triathlon. We're going to have Movie at the 12 o'clock position as the red Protoss player. And at the 7 o'clock position, we're going to have Bisu as the blue Protoss player. Wow, those are some of the most comfortable colors I've ever had in the game. Just standing ovation just for the colors. Thank you. So, it's going to be Bisu coming off his vacation. Still think he's actually on it. Now that I think about it, I'm not altogether too sure, but this is mostly, yeah. I think this is the first. I'm not altogether too sure on this, but I think these were the first games that Bisu played coming off is the vacation. So we're gonna see what happens, whether it's gonna bring him in all fresh or whether he's just totally out of practice. 49, 50, 51 for sinking. But you guys knew that. So yeah, I'm kind of reminded of this because the last time, ages ago, Bisu went for an vacation. I remember that. What was it? GOM TV MSL finals, the first one, which was the MSL where he 3-0'd Savior. He basically went on vacation while he should have been preparing for the finals. He instead went on like a 2-day vacation beforehand. Instead, just went off and rested, cleared his mind, then came back and owned Savior. Totally ripped him to pieces. And I know there's been a lot of controversy going on with some of the players, that there's some sort of match-fixing controversy. I've read some of this. And, until I know they're accusing some people, Savior's high on the list, for instance, apparently. But until they're investigating a lot of people. But until there are, I think this is the 4th time I say that now. But until there are, 5 now. Okay, let's actually get the proper sentence out there. Until there are absolute facts, concrete facts, until, there is proof, like this guy, these players right here on this list, these players here, they took part in match fixing. Until I get that list, I'll give my 2 cents about it. But until it's, speculation and rumors and no concrete proof yet, then I'm just gonna not give any more thoughts about it. I mean, I'm not surprised, really. In a sport, there's always some stuff like that. But we're gonna see what happens. So, Movie gonna start off by expanding. That's what Movie's gonna do. On the opposite side, Bisu playing a pretty standard, I think, spotting the expansion coming in from Movie, so might force him to expand himself as well. I think these 2 guys are the Protoss players right now. Most likely the Protoss players with the best mechanics. I don't know where Bisu is at the moment, if he's lost anything, meanwhile not putting down his own natural expo. But, if looking at the first-person unity, seems to be as quick as ever, but I'm not altogether too sure. I can't really say for sure where he's at the moment. But Movie definitely one of the guys with one of the best mechanics, and his macro is insane when it gets there. His PvP is also very good. Oh, and Bisu gonna go for a Manor Pylon. Did I catch 2? Yeah, or 3. Yeah, blocking 2 mineral patches. Nice. I was complaining in the last set about the lack of Manor Pylons in PvPs lately, and well, who other else than Bisu to come out and say, oh, Ranchin wants a Manor Pylon. Okay, I'll give him a Manor Pylon. Also trying to come in with a Zealot here in a probe, almost doing some damage there to one of the Zealots. He's going to come in there, going to try to pick off a probe alongside there. A little probe there at the back, a little bit runnable. Is he going to manage to do anything with it? He's going to try to catch one of the probes in here with the Zealot. Going to try to do some damage. And of course, Bisu, some of the best micro around. He can really focus on microing and macroing at the same time, just being annoying, picking off a probe mining gas. Oh. On the opposite side, we're going to see whether Movie counteracts this by getting his own Manor Pylon out there. I'm not quite sure whether he wants to give up those minerals to do so. Beach is still keeping that Zealot inside. It is heavily damaged and facing 2 of its own kind, but it's going to die eventually. Did I get cancelled? No, I don't think. I think it went down. Could have gone. Did I get cancelled? Oh, wow. Don't think so. Anyway. Nice play from Bisu overall, doing some nice harassment. Manor Pylon, picking off that probe. I think he actually might have canceled that pylon just as it was about to go live, as it were. Or I'm just hallucinating, or it went up and just got killed. Oh, I think it was canceled. I could be hallucinating. It's it's what happens when you take as much LSD as I do. It's what happens. I know that a lot of you guys thought I'm on drugs, and there it goes. There's my confession. LSD, crack, heroin, some more crack. Just I needed to keep myself in the game. Oh, wow! Gateways coming in for both players like crazy at the moment. Neither one teching up. Neither one of them focusing on tech. Movie's gonna put down. Gonna have 4 gateways. Just gonna get as many goons out there as they can. Both players are rather light in troops at the moment, and so pretty much understandable why they're going for all this tech at the moment. Just to make sure that they can get some army going, because both of them went for fairly quick expansions. Bisu had a gateway up before he went Expo, and I think actually Movie went for Nexus before anything. Well, actually, yeah, I think he went 1 gateway into Nexus as well. So both players expanding very quickly. Movie gonna go out there and clear out some of his eggs. Gonna try to give himself maneuverability, so he can move around a little bit with his Dragoons in case Reavers come in. Of course, going for this base behind the eggs has the weakness of, if you do not clear that ground, that base is just going to be a gift to Reavers, a gift to shuttle play. It's any sort of drops, High Templar drops, Reaver drops, DT drops, Reaver drops in particular, I feel. They're just going to be so, because that's generally what you see the most of in PvP. Of course, in PvP, just go in there, get a couple of Reaver shots off, back off. That's it. Go fly after that. Both players have a sizable, Bisu already has a sizable group of Dragoons out there, going to be able to go out there and pick off that scout, no problem. On the opposite side, probably going to be seeing something alongside, something like that from Movie. He's actually pushing out a little bit with a few of his forces, not going to be able to accomplish too much with them at the moment, getting his own second gas up. Both players just going to continue playing this. Bisu going to go for the observatory before anything else. Understandably, since he got his scout picked off and he wants to be careful with this, going for a Citadel of a Dune. So we're going to see whether he just going to switch up into High Templar right away, and we're going to see what Movie. I don't think Movie's actually gotten any higher tech yet. Don't think I see any sort of higher tech yet from him at all. Going to probably add in a 4th gateway there as well. Movie going to apparently try to push this. I don't think he's going to be too successful. Bisu with a higher Dragoon army. Movie has some reinforcement coming in. Bisu, the only thing he has to do, maneuver out and focus down some of those Dragoons, losing some of his own, but there's just going to be a little bit of a Dragoon battle. Both players just shelling each other, both sides. Movie having some reinforcements coming in. Bisu no reinforcements, oddly enough. Movie just constantly streaming in some more Dragoons, and Bisu actually going to be pushed back a little bit. I think Movie caught him at a nice time for Movie, that is. Caught him when he was teching, so nice move here for Movie figuring out, wait a minute, he's teching right now, so it could be a great time for me to catch him. Picks off the Zealot in seconds. Observer going to come out there, and Beast is going to be pushed up his ramp, so he's going to get some damage. He's going to get shelled as Natural Expo. No forces coming out for no Dragoons. He unfortunately got caught during tech transition. This is, of course, the best time to catch your opponent. Best time to catch your opponent in a PvP during a tech transition. So Beast was going to be a little bit of trouble. going to be forced to fight off with some of his probes. Oh, finally some Dragoons. Finally, all of his gateways producing a massive Dragoons. He's going to try to push this back. Has his own probes coming out as well, but getting them picked off. Overall, a lot of trouble because of this. He's forced to fight back with probes and Dragoons. Going to try to fight off down this ramp, but he really doesn't want to be fighting down this ramp. How's the Templar Archives coming up? But still a long time until he gets anything out there. One DT, in retrospect, one DT would push this back completely. But he's most likely going to lose his Nexus, so pretty bad start for Bisu right there. Getting caught in transition, and Movie going to take a rather strong position for himself. Bisu, of course, trying to very aggressively harass, expand. Wow, getting my thoughts and my words getting mixed up. Because Bisu expanded down his ramp instead of to the safety beyond the eggs, he's paying the price a little bit, because otherwise he'd be fighting like this, down a ramp, slightly better position. Movie just slowly but surely trying to push up, using one goon as a spotter. Bisu just not enough forces. Probe gonna come off the line. He has very few probes whatsoever. I'm hoping for his sake that he's going for some DTs, because DTs, yeah, there's one DT in there. That's gonna be enough, because no observatory period out there. Okay, there is an observatory out there, but no observer that I can see out there for Movie yet. So Bisu could actually be able to move out without single DT down the ramp and actually push this back. Because Movie went for Shuttle and Reaver before anything else. He's just playing good old standard. We have a Shuttle out there for Bisu as well. Movie meanwhile going to pick up his third, while Bisu just sitting on that one. Oh, no, it's two. I'm sorry. Did he have a base behind those eggs? I'm getting all sorts of confused at this point. Oh no, Shuttle DT is going to get spot observer in there. DTs are not going to accomplish too much. Observer not turning around, oddly enough. Turn around! Oh, well. Never mind. DT's going to go in there and start killing some probes. Hello, probes. Your death approaches. And the movie's like, oh, wait, my observer. Oh, there's my observer. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, darn. Oh gosh. Oh, he's going to get a lot of this. Now, Bisu, meanwhile, just not going to pick up his third. But that's going to get harassed by Reavers. Meanwhile, Bisu picking off a whole... Just, wow, the amount of probes. I do not understand why Movie did not move back with his observer. I don't get it. I do not understand what's going on. More probes coming off the line to the natural. Movie, meanwhile, penetrating Bisu's main. Picking off the observer. That's going to matter too much. Bisu going to try to pick up this Reaver. Oh, no. One scared coming off the probes. Second scared coming off the probes. Oh, dear lordy. That's a hunk of damage. That's a huge hunk of damage. Bisu at this point, though, targeting both of the next hunk of damage. Bisu at this point, though, targeting both of the Nexi, maybe? And has his own DTs in there to pick off the Dragoons and force Movie right out of there. Oh, Bisu instantly going to pick up his natural expansion yet again. Talk about clutch performance. He's not going to be able to take down the Nexi, but the only probes Movie has is at his new third. Not going to lose any Nexus, thankfully for him. Still had that Shuttle in there, but no Reavers at this point. So Bisu, wow. Wow, okay, I think I got some of my focus back with that. Insane play. I do not understand why Movie did not. He spotted the Shuttle. Oh, Bisu. No, I mean Movie. Sorry. Oh, Movie. Did I sound just a little bit less sympathetic when I realized it was Movie Shuttle? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Movie. I love you. These are two of my favorite chess players. Movie, oddly enough, Movie's not one of the dragons, but I definitely think at this point he's reaching the level of a dragon. I think he's like the young dragons. Bisu yet again going to move up with two shuttles at this point, and there is an observer finally spotting, so I'm going to see what the Bisu going to try to abuse and try to pick off those Nexus. Going to get one DT into the main. No observer. Oh, dear lordy. No probes, no saturation. DT just going to move into the natural expo. It's going to get picked off, though, unfortunately. The observer coming back in time. But Movie still has no production of units at the moment. Bisu finally going to be able to get his own expo going. Going to be able to restop his natural expansion. I can hardly tell where this is going, where this game is. This is insane. And I think that Bisu's 5 o'clock has confused me this entire game, because there's always been sort of blue blip there, which I'm always like, what is that? Is that a base? That can't be a base. But yeah, starting off with Bisu, Movie puts down his expo beyond the eggs. Bisu puts down his expo at the 9 o'clock. Movie goes out, catches Bisu teching, picks off the actual expo. Bisu just desperately tries to fight off in one while only having one base. Moves out with a dropship and 2 DTs. Goes out there, kills every single probe at the natural and the secondary of movies. Movie desperately picks up a third as that happens. Managed to save like 5 probes to that natural expansion. And yeah. Oh dear God! Almost gets both of his Nexus's snipe. Has a dropship coming out there actually with speed. There are a couple of Dragoons ready there, so we're gonna see though. He still might get a drop off. Is gonna be able to get a drop off? No, Dragoons are gonna be in time. Bisu meanwhile gonna actually drop 4 Zealots. Oh no! There's a Reaver! Oh no! There's gonna be a Reaver, and just with that Reaver, I think he's gonna be able to save Nexus. But this is Bisu's Nexus sniping crew. Oh dear God, that Nexus is gonna go down. This is hilarity. Is that Nexus gonna go down? One more Zealot? No! Oh, 32 health on that Nexus and 4 shields. Oh man, that would have been awesome. Man, oh man, oh man. If that Reaver hadn't been there, just movie with nothing but absolute luck. Having that Reaver there, we saw Bisu expanding at the lower left hand at the beyond the egg secondary. That's what I'm gonna call. I'm gonna call the natural expo beyond the eggs a secondary. I'm gonna call the natural expo down the range. Bisu gonna try to go for something like this again. 2 goons this time around. They just need to get a volley off on that Nexus, and the Nexus goes down. Oh dear God. Both players at this point have a huge ground army on the ground. Bisu gets caught off guard a little bit, moving out downwards. So, Movie out there with a couple of Reavers and some quite decent amount of Dragoons. But Bisu, I think, is actually a larger army. He's going to be able to catch him, box him in a little bit. He has a few forces on the left side. The Reaver's going to try to get as many Scarabs as they can. We're going to see whether Bisu going to have enough for this. We're going to try to snipe this Reaver. Shuttle going to go down alongside the Reaver. One single Reaver. The both Reavers going to be sniped there. Bisu has more than enough Dragoons, I think, to finish this off. As more Reavers are coming in, so Movie has 1 additional Dragoon coming in from the back, and that's going to be enough. And that's not going to be enough at all. Bisu going to be able to fight this back. Some more reinforcements are coming in now for Movie. Bisu going to be able to fight this off. So he's mining on 3 bases. Movie going to reestablish his main. It still has a Dragoon in there, firing at the Nexus inside the secondary. And oh dear God, unfortunately for Movie, his Reaver's not. Oh man, his Reaver's not helping him there. Bisu getting his 3rd gas going. 5 gateways. I think Movie has. I'm pretty sure Movie has more than that, but still not too great. Oh, Bisu managed to get 1 Zealot out there. Get the shell. Was trying to go for yet another Nexus scouting troop, but this time around, Movie knows what's happening. He knows what to expect. Has some Dragoons ready. Also, actually putting down cannons at that position. So, actually, I think this has been a complete turnaround. I think Bisu's in a slightly stronger position now. He took down a lot of army. Picking off that Nexus, I think, was really what got him back into the game. Going to get a Forge down right now, so he's going to be behind in upgrades. But going to have some high Templars out there. Going to have some more tech. Going to have high Templars out there much quicker than Movie. Going to try to counteract that with no Reavers for him. She's going to add in gateways, get some high Templars out. They're going to try to continue macroing up, getting a huge goon army out there. Yet again, Movie going to try to go for something funky. Has a shuttle in there. Bisu, unfortunately, nothing to defend. Yeah, 1 photon cannon coming down now, but I don't think it's going to be up in time. Movie's going to be able to go towards that new base. I think Bisu actually had a probe there, which did not spot that. Bisu could be in a lot of trouble if this harassment happens. We're going to see what Bisu's reaction is going to be. Shuttle going to come in right now. Bisu is going to be able to move anything off the line. I think he was moving something off the line. Probes coming off the line. Scarab dud. Dud Scarab. A second Scarab. Another dud. So Bisu managed to save pretty much all the probes. Oh, okay, 1 probe. 1 probe dies. But Movie failed harassment. Bisu with enough timing pulls his probe off a line. Gonna go for another harassment inside the main. 4 Zealots with speed this time. This time their target, I'm pretty sure, are the probes. There is a cannon there to help out. The probes coming off the line to fight as well. Zealots gonna try to do as much as they can. And really, just both these players are very harassing players. They play. I can't say that they play a similar style aside from the fact that they harass a lot, but both of them do play a very harassment-heavy style, except that Movie, despite his funky harassment, is a overall bigger macro player. He is a more bigger macro player. He tends to orient himself around playing good large macro games with some funky things that he does here and there alongside to keep him along, to keep him going during a macro game, to keep himself economically superior to his opponents. Bisu Bisu plays a more of a harassing game to start off. And, well, oh, God, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Bisu plays a style like that. It's just hard to explain, I guess. Both these guys have a similar style, but Bisu plays, I guess, more of a micro-oriented macro style, or what am I talking about? Both players have extremely similar macro, I guess, in that they... Oh, actually, Movie had now with some DTs, so Bisu going to have to get some observers in there to actually force them back, so at least Movie not going to be able to push up. It has a huge army compared to what Movie has on the ground. Well, yeah, I got to say both players have a similar style of play, I guess. But Movie definitely has a stronger macro. He has more of a style that, you know, like pull an army out of nowhere. DT going to be out there for Movie. And a Zealot. 2 DTs and a Zealot that will left in position. There is an Observer in there, but no troops. So actually the Probe's going to go out there and try to engage. The Cannon's not going to be able to do enough. But more Zealot's going to come in here for Bisu. Meanwhile, going to lose a lot of probes to this DT. And Observer finally going to take a DT down. But we're going to see we're actually going to try to move out there with some High Templar and some Zealots going to try to engage the forces of Movies out there. The forces of Movie. He'll take you to the movies. Anyway, that's not my joke. I'm not going to try. Bisu, we did see expand at the 3 o'clock position, and Movie might actually spot that it has a shuttle that's kind of gunning, well, actually, no, gunning right by that location. So you're going to try to go for yet another harass. Bunch of probes coming off the line for Bisu. We're going to see whether they'll get spotted. Meanwhile, going to be an engagement. Storms coming off there for Bisu, trying to catch the Reavers. Meanwhile, there's going to be an opportunity for Movie to actually kill a lot of those probes. A lot of nice storms after Bisu. They're storming a lot of those Dragoons. Movie not dodging whatsoever, not microing them around a lot. All of his Dragoons melting. He's going to be forced back in the main. Some Archons coming in there for Bisu as well. Going to start splashing against those forces. Zealots and more Dragoons going to come in there. Don't think he has anything else coming in there. But meanwhile, Movie going to do some harassment at that 3 o'clock position. But overall, I think Bisu played a superior match. He's going to be able to penetrate inside his natural expansion. Movie now in a not as good a position. Not in a very, very good position here. He's going to be able to harass and prevent the 3 o'clock from mining. Bisu now inside of Movie's main has a bunch of Dragoons and Zealots in there. Next is going to go down. Has an Archon in there as well, splashing the probes. The probes all going to go down. Yeah, I thought maybe one would fixate. But yeah, he's going to lose his natural expansion now. And Movie, unfortunately for him, doesn't have enough because he went for the natural secondary. He went for the secondary before he went for this natural expo beyond the ridge. Bisu might lose his 3 o'clock, but he's actually going to be able to push up the ramp. He's picked off a base with Movie, so I think he's overall still in a good position, despite the fact even if he might lose that base. Movie has one single High Templar there, 2 High Templars on the ramp, waiting for the opportunity to storm. Bisu has one more storm. Second storm he's going to use just to pick off that Archon, and GG coming up there for Movie. I think his 2 High Templars were lost. His last hope, but he lost that. So Bisu still in the game. Really fun to see these two guys that have similar style of play. I don't know. I'm trying to articulate how I think these guys are different, and I'm having a really hard time doing so. Because every time I say, well, they are a little bit different, but then I always find in my head, wait a minute, they're a lot of similar in this way, and they're a lot similar in that way, and they're a lot similar in this way too. So it's all like, I don't know. Anyway. That's going to be it for the second set. Bisu going to move out to the winners, where he's going to face up again good old Stats. So Bisu still in the game. Is there hope for Bork? Is there hope for Bork? We'll see. GG guys, wrenching out. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. I shall see you when I see you. Hey guys, Ranjin here, bringing you StarCraft commentary. This is going to be the winners match in Group H with round 32 of the Hana Daetoo MSL 2010 spring season. It's going to be between Bisu and Shuttle, and the colors are very close to each other, and that's annoying, but what are you going to do? This is going to be on odd eye 2. We're going to have Shuttle at the upper left-hand position at the 11 o'clock as the yellow Protoss. We're going to have Bisu at the bottom right position as the, okay, they changed it. It's a red Protoss, 5 o'clock position, bottom right. Sponsored by Pocari Sweat and Craze Burgers. GGO, nice. Pocari Sweat. I've heard of that somewhere. Where am I? Pocari Sweat. I don't know. I've heard of that somewhere before, but anyway, sinking. 39, 40, 41. Pocari Sweat. I swear to God, it sounds familiar. I don't know why, and it kind of weirds me out that it sounds familiar. Anyway, yet again, sorry this is coming in late, but, you know, especially being the weekend, I tend to try to have a semblance of a life, you know, spending time with a girlfriend, doing some school crap, you know, got finals coming up and all that jazz. I'm not the most ambitious person on the planet when it comes to finals. You know, I don't study to death for every single final. Only the finals I really feel like I want to do well and I feel I can do well, I go around and study like crazy. But some other finals where I don't really care that much about a subject, as long as I pass it with the semblance of a decent performance, I'm okay. So I just kind of I'll study for it, but I'll still live a life as I'm doing so. Anyway, enough about my own personal life and my views on studies and such. This is Shuttle and Bisu. Shuttle played a pretty decent match in the first set, and Bisu and Movie also gave us a darn nice game of StarCraft. But here we're going to see both players going for gateway into some layers, so both players are going to just play good old standard. We're going to see whether this just goes into good old Goon Reaver, and Shuttle actually going to block off his ramp with one of his probe, going to make sure Bisu does not come up. I'm wondering whether this is because he's trying to go for some funky tech, or whether just trying to basically trying to catch Bisu off guard. Bisu almost managing. Bisu, of course, very good with his probe micro. Desperately trying to get up, and he does. No hiding there. And no hiding there for Shuttle. No way. It's not going to happen. You see the Zealot also coming up there for Bisu. Probably going to see the same on the opposite side for Shuttle. One Zealot. We're going to see whether he gets a second one out there as well. Sabnado's core coming up. So yeah, pretty much mirror builds so far. Exact mirror builds. Bisu, half a second behind or so. Second behind, but it's not really going to become that big a factor here. Just going to see which guy. Of course, very important here for Bisu that he's gotten that scout inside. And he's getting it harassed. He's gotten it hit, but he's still full health. And the shields, of course, recover, so he can still keep that alive for quite a while until the initial Dragoon from his opponent comes out. Still don't see a scout for a Shuttle coming in on the opposite side. So we're going to see whether that happens. Bisu actually trying to be getting stuck apparently there a little bit from the gas mine, trying to maybe delay the gas mining just a little bit by a couple of seconds. Seconds a lot now out there for Shuttle. So he's either going to have to wait on his Goon or get or pincer that probe inside. Now Bisu does have one Zealot on the ramp. Let's see if he gets a second one there out there as well, but he's going to be able to blockade. And I still don't see a scout coming out there for Shuttle. I'm wondering whether he's just going to trust that Bisu's going to play good old standard against him and just plop down his goons, plop down his observatory before robotics facility, and hope that it all works out. Basically, if he's going to go for observatory build, then not really much that Bisu would be able to do would surprise him. He's going to go for quick observatory after this initial goon, which he's apparently not. Okay, they're sending out his probe scout probe alongside two Zealots. So he's going to go out there, be a little bit aggressive. Going to try to make sure he gets that the probe inside. Could have even, has his Dragoon moving out at the front as well, so he's going to definitely try to get that in there. Going around a little bit, spotting for cheese with that probe, making sure that he doesn't fall prey to something funky and devious. Bisu getting a range upgrade on his Goon alongside. But yeah, if the scout is very late for Shuttle, but if he is going for observatory before anything else, he would have probably been able to counter a DT build. DTs would have been able to get in there, maybe pick off a couple probes. It just depends on the timings overall. Not altogether too sure. Bisu going to actually put down an expansion. He's going to play a little bit risky. Going to hope that he's going to be able to get a decent amount of troops, and he's actually being the player here that is going to try to forego Reaver. Is going to be able to pick off the scout though, so he's going to be able to deny. Deny information, deny very important information to Shuttle. Shuttle's not going to know that Bisu going for an expansion, so he's most likely going to be assuming that his opponent's going for troops instead. He's going to put down his own expansion. Had an observatory out there, but still, I feel because Bisu went for his nexus before he went for some tech, he's going to have some troop advantage. He's going to have more troops down the ground. Does have a robotics facility up, and he's going to be able to pump more Dragoons for more gateways, but unfortunately for him, if Shuttle catches him at just the right moment, he'll be able to push out. If he gets right after that observer, if he gets a Shuttle and Reaver out there alongside all of his Goons, goes out there, he'll be able to barrel down on Bisu and push him all the way back, and even take out his natural expansion. As long as Bisu micros, it's going to be very important for Bisu to micro well, fight back, and counter what Shuttle's going to be going for, because he is going to have his initial observatory. Still don't see robotic support bait coming up yet. So I'm wondering whether he's actually not going to go for that, but although generally in PvP, when you do have your observers out there, you generally just follow it up with Reavers anyway, because that's just the good old standard PvP. You don't want to invest too much in tech, otherwise you can get landed a very bad position like Bisu did in the game against Movie, where Movie came in, caught him as he was teching, so caught him overall in a very bad position. Bisu also going to go for Observatory before anything else. Going to go out there try to get the scout in, because he did have the early scout, but he doesn't really know exactly what kind of tech his opponent's going for or anything of the sort. Still don't see robotic support bay out there for Shuttle. He does have one gateway less than Bisu. Bisu's earlier Nexus giving him that advantage. Actually going to go for Citadel over Dune, so he might be going for High Tempo instead. The opposite side, Bisu's actually going to go for robotic support, so he's going to go for Reavers. Wondering what Shuttle's actually going to go for here. Or he's going to try to win this with Templar, whether he's going to go... I don't think this is going to be DTs. This is quite a bit late to try to go for some DT play, because at this point you have to assume your opponent will have some observers out there. It's going to be very, very dangerous to try to go for some sort of DT play, unless you're going to go for some sort of drop. DT drop might still be highly successful. Shuttle at this moment going to move out with a decent group of Dragoons alongside observers. Going to go out there. Has meanwhile one observer coming inside of Bisu's natural expansion. Going to spot that pylon there and actually not moving closer, possibly fearing being caught. Meanwhile, going to go out there and just clear out that 12 o'clock position, 11:30 position. Make sure there's nothing there to prevent anything from happening. Bisu meanwhile also has a fairly sizable Dragoon force, just waiting on his Reavers at this point. I feel as soon as he's gotten a decent sized. Wonder how many observers he can get in before anything else. Let's see, Temple Archives and Forge on the opposite side for Shuttle. So yeah, he's probably adding in a gateway, so he's probably just going to pump an army. Gonna go on 4 gateways now. Gonna go on 4 gateways now. Probably going to see Bisu adding in his 4th as well. But yeah, he's just going to go for a High Temple army. Going to get some Storms rather than Reaver Scarabs. And going to try to get some upgrades as well. Bisu on the opposite went for Reaver before Shuttle. So he's going to try to play a little bit defensive. He's going to try to hold this off here. And of course, the good thing about Reavers is that if you play defensively, they can just sit still and bombard their opponents from range. Also getting still with Dunes. So we're going to see what this is going to be, detect a High Templar or just to get some speed on some Zealots. So you can get some more Zealots out there and make them be just a little bit more effective. More gateways being added in by Shuttle. So he's going to just get a huge army going. Definitely going to be getting some High Templar. You need some additional gateways to pump your High Templar alongside your ground and still keep a decent ground army pump. Bisu, of course, going to have that Reaver Shuttle in there. Bisu, very good Shuttle micro. He's very capable in that regard. Just now adding in his additional gateways. Coming a little bit later. His 4th to 6th gateways coming in a little bit later. But wasn't really producing much aside from some Dragoons before he did anything else, getting his observers out. They're going to spot an observer in there for Shuttle. Oddly enough, not yet. Finally now going to go move back one of his few of his Dragoons to go and pick that observer off. Shuttle actually moving his own forces. I'm wondering if he's going to think this is going to be an opportunity for him of some sort. One more shot on the observer goes out and picks that off. Another player really going for an aggressive action at this point, and there is going to be a DT out there for Shuttle. I thought he was going to go for High Templar, but he's going to go for a slightly riskier play. At least with his DT, if Bisu decides to pick up an additional expansion, the DT is going to have a very easy time denying that. We're going to see now whether the pro spots the shim with the DT. Oh man, Bisu's, oh dear lordy, there was a cannon in there. Now is it going to be a question, is there a cannon inside the main? There is a cannon inside the main. But so the DT, yeah, observer also in the DT is going to die before doing any sort of damage. Bisu Shuttle almost getting sniped. Meanwhile, going to try to go for a Reaver attack at the natural expansion. Shuttle spotting that on the way, most likely with his observers. And being ready for that. So Bisu, if he wants to use this Shuttle observers, he's going to have to go in here at the natural expansion and use it on the ground, get that Reaver down on the ground, try to get some Scarabs off. No High Templar on the ground. There we go, High Templar. Just I was going to say that. High Templar getting a huge storm on top of all those Dragoons. No dodging from Bisu. He's getting some decent Scarabs off, though. Very damaged Shuttle, though. He can't utilize that anymore. But beautiful storms there from Shuttle right on top of a huge clump of Bisu's Dragoons. And that just pushed Bisu back with absolutely nothing. Bisu's going to have a small contain in there, but still not in a very good position. Getting a huge amount of those troops damaged and also a very heavily damaged Shuttle, so that's not going to help him out. Shuttle. Oh god, saying Shuttle and Shuttle. Yeah, Bisu also going to put down his 3rd as he contains Shuttle. Shuttle actually now going to start to break out here. Picks off an observer, moving out with those Zealots running at the front. Also going to pick up his 3rd. Bisu actually has a DT in there. Going to go in there and try to deny this new base. I think there is a cannon morphing in, so T's gonna go for the cannon. Might actually, yeah. Pro's like, yeah, cannon gonna force that cannon to go down. It's gonna just keep attacking that Nexus. Not sure if it's gonna be able to do too much with it because there are gonna be reinforcements coming in. Don't think he's gonna be able to force that Nexus away, force a cancel or anything of the sort. But still, Bisu at least with some heads-up play in that regard. Let's see, moving in with his own reinforcement toward that 4 o'clock base of his, and still attacking that Nexus at 12 o'clock. Shuttle with no response to this yet. Man, the next could go down with 1 DT. That will be absolutely critical, and Bisu would put Bisu in a pretty good position. Is going to force a cancel on that Nexus. Bisu doing a great job of denying that one with just, unfortunately for Shuttle not moving with it. Forced to report that has a lot of Shuttle there. He knows that base will not be too important if he manages to take down all these forces. Storming on top of all of these Zealots. They can't act with blockers as much. A huge amount of storms and crops. All Dragoons storm on the Reaver. Reaver's going to go down. Had 1 Scarab come up before that, but Bisu is not enough on the ground. No way. Does not have enough on the ground. Has some Zealots coming in, pushing in very close to the Dragoons, forcing them to micro away, but still just not enough. Very few forces just slowly but surely trying to push Shuttle back, but with only Zealots to support yourself. Has an Archon in there as well, but only Zealots, and that's not enough. GT yet again gonna run around the 12 cup position, gonna try to run by. Actually runs by those Dragoons. Gonna spot the probe. Goodbye, probe. Yet again denying that expansion for a little while. Bisu meanwhile gonna be able to take up his third. Just has to be very careful not to make sure. Has to fight Shuttle back, because that fact that he's denying that third of Shuttle is not going to become an absolute non-factor if he doesn't manage to fight this back. He does have a very short resupply route, but really needs to be careful. Has to take those High Templar out as well, so no more storms come up. But only the 3 Dragoons to fight back. His probe's going to come off the line. There's 1 more cannon to support. More Dragoons going to come off the line from the high ground. Probe's going to be forced to fight back against these Dragoons. Well, has a Reaver on top there. Has a Shuttle coming out as well, so we're going to see whether he manages to save this base. Well, nothing but a single Reaver. That 1 single Reaver might completely save his life if he manages to do some more. Has a lot more Dragoons coming out. Oh no! Storm coming down. Oh, the force coming down, and the Reaver dies. Gets some more Scarabs out there still. Bisu had some more Dragoon Reavers coming in alongside, but Reaver literally had to keep that Reaver alive. Beautiful storm so far by Shuttle this entire game. Bisu's lost a lot of probes at this point. So an expansion, I don't think really has any sort of mining at this point. Still fighting back with a lot of probes. More reinforcements coming down there for Shuttle. Dragoons and a lot of High Templar as well. Bisu losing a lot of probes and actually mismicroing a little bit of Zealots. Zealots not being able to come down that ramp. But at the very least for now, is going to be able to fight Shuttle back. Oh yeah, is mining at this 4 base. Put down a couple of cannons there as well preemptively. Shuttle still don't think he has a 4th base up. So at the very least, Bisu has a mine. He lost a lot of probes there, but he's still going to have some decent economy going. Shuttle just now getting his Nexus up on that location. Is going to be transferring some probes, but really Shuttle taking advantage of his early High Templars. Really doing a fantastic job with those storms. Absolutely fantastic job with those storms. I also believe he's been, I think he's been a little bit ahead of Bisu. Definitely had weapons 1 before Bisu did. But it didn't spot fully the upgrades on those armies. Actually, Shuttle going to move down towards Bisu 4 position. Bisu has to fight this off storm on top of all of his forces. Did micro some of his Zealots, but another storm. Double storm on top of all those Zealots. Ripping all those to pieces. More storms on top of those Zealots, and Bisu cannot be happy about this. Being ripped to pieces by nothing but storms. And storm has enough left over to storm the probes. So now Bisu's lost all his forces. Some more, two reinforcement Dragoons and DT. There's a cannon there at the back, but I don't think this is going to be enough. The Archon's going to go down. Shuttle with weapons 2 to Bisu's weapons 1. So he's ripping Bisu's army to pieces, and GG from Bisu. Shuttle moving out to the round of 16. Oh man, upset city. Oh, that's what the MSL is. It's upset city. No matter what you think, guys, it is upset city. It's what happens. Bisu gonna go a little bit. Kidding me. So he's gonna move on to the final match. We're gonna see who he faces there. But nice game there for Shuttle. Bisu was denying that 3rd base of his, so beautiful play by him. But really, those storms were pretty much the only thing that gave him the match. Bisu, unfortunately, not managing to utilize his Reavers as well as he would have wanted to. I think he had too much tech, pretty much. Was going for some Archons of his own on the ground. Just had too much tech, so he couldn't quite keep up the army amount. Should have just stuck to heavy Reavers and nothing else. Would have had more of a shot there. But seriously, absolutely beautiful storming. Totally bringing Shuttle the game there. So beautiful. And we're going to see what he brings to the round of 16. If he gets a Protoss opponent, he might actually move on forward. We're going to see what happens. So GG guys, wrenching out, that's listening. Hope you enjoyed. Moving on to the losers and final matches. Hey guys, Ranchin here, bringing you on StarCraft commentary. Did I say commentary? I meant commentary. This is going to be the losers match in Group H of the round 32 of the Hana Daetoo MSL 2010. This is going to be between Stats and Movie on Arai 2, where Stats is going to channel his RPGs, his strength bonus, which comes from his Daetoo and stuff like that. While Movie is going to try to take him to the movies. So we're going to have Stat at the bottom right-hand corner as the orange Protoss are going to move in the upper left-hand corner as the yellow Protoss, very bluish, like the color of the ocean, just like in the movies. Oh God, Nuke and his voices. Nuke should try growling. Let's see how what that does for his throat. Anyway, 40, 41, 42. So, well, you know, this is kind of what I expected, really. I don't know why, but stats, and between stats and Shuttle, I really did not know which was going to win. I felt it was pretty equal overall, even though Stats has been playing pretty decently lately. He's gotten quite good, but just don't think he also performed pretty well last MSL. So I did not really know where he was going to go. You know, I thought that was going to go either way. And between Bisu and Movie, I think it was the same thing. So I pretty much expected. This is no surprise to me that what the winners and the losers matches were. So here, however, I fully expect Movie to win this. I mean, Movie's stat in PvP is nothing really like to look at when you check it out. But he is a player who has significantly improved lately. In the last year, he has significantly improved as a player in all his matchups. He's very much his best matchup by far is his versus Zerg, but he's still very good versus Terran, very good versus Protoss. The problem used to be with him is that he was very inconsistent. Against Zerg, he could win, but against Terran and Protoss, he was extremely inconsistent, and some of that still shines through, unfortunately, particularly in the individual leagues where they really need his help. But apparently in the Pro League, I meant to say, where it, unfortunately becomes a problem. But in individual leagues, he seems to shine through sometimes and just brings the better games here. So I fully expect him to beat Stats as long as he just plays his good old standard game. He has a very strong macro when he gets going to the late game, if it should come to that. But he also has very good micromanagement. He has some nice shuttle play. So overall, I just think he is a better player. Mind you, better players often lose. But I expect him to beat Stats in this position here. Good old standard, that's usually what I call one gateway, 7 core, Zealot, Probe Scouts coming off. It's just, to me, that's PvP, and it's just good old standard. That's really much all you can say. It's just good old standard PvP. So that's just what we're going to be seeing from each other. It looks pretty much the same as what we saw in the winners match. Both players are going to just 7 core. We're going to see whether they follow this up with getting this robotics facility right afterwards, or what. And Stats doing a pretty decent job keeping that probe alive in there. Both players have their probes inside, just managing to keep those alive as long as humanly possible. You want to keep that scout alive until the goon comes out. You want to make sure that happens. Also try to scout whether it's going to be range upgraded or not. Mind you, you could land yourself in a fake out, but still try to spot the moment that the 7 core starts spinning. Ooh, Movie there, getting in trouble, getting a couple of shots on him. Gonna have to run away a little bit more, be a little bit more careful. And I want to give some practical advice to you guys. If you have some cold tea left over and you want to heat it up, don't do it in the microwave. Yeah, because that's just gonna end up. Because I tend to forget that cups, porcelain heats all over for some reason. I guess it's just physics, common sense maybe. But yeah, so you will end up picking up your cup with your finger, and you will end up burning yourself. And that's a little bit uncomfortable, mind you. Some cold water for a couple of minutes and some aloe vera. It'll alleviate the pain, but your finger will still be uncomfortable after the burn for like a week. So it won't be horrible as long as you didn't hold on to it for too long, but it'll still be a little bit uncomfortable. So there's Ranchin's uncomfortable things in life. Well, Ranchin's practical advice corner or such, if you will. So both players are getting their box facilities up. We're going to see whether it's just going to be very standard play, getting those initial reavers out there. Might see observatories before robotic support base. Both players just playing very standard, getting their couple of dragoons, getting their zealots inside. Movie also putting down pylons all over the place so he can spot reavers coming in shuttles inside of his main, just in case there's something like that going to be happening. Stats actually moving one of his probes up there, but that's instantly pushing them back, trying to move in again. Stats is going to be getting his Nexus alongside of his observatory. We're going to see what Movie goes for. We're going to see whether Movie actually goes for robotic support bay beforehand, or whether he's going to do exactly the same thing. He is going to be putting down his Nexus, so probably going to be putting down his Observatory alongside. It's just safer to get your if you're going to be quickly expanding, it's just safer to get your Observatory quickly. Stat's going to add in a couple extra gateways just now. Quite a bit late. Both players playing heavy econ, low unit games. I mean, at this point in the game, 5 minutes in, 5.5 minutes in, only 3 goons and 2 Zealots. Usually you see 2 gateways pumping at this point. Still don't see an Observatory out there for Movie, although I'm assuming it's there. Going to snipe one of those probes. Going to make sure there's not going to be a scout coming inside of his base. Going to pop an observer out there, so you definitely get that Observatory going. Both players going to have an observer flying across the map. Getting some scouting going. Still don't see any robotic support base from other players, so we're going to see whether Stats actually decide to, whether both players decide to put down Citadel of Dunes instead. Movie is going to go for the robotic support base, so definitely going to go for it. We're going to see whether it's going to be the same for Stats on the opposite side, or whether he's going to go for Citadel of Dunes. Still don't see any hard tech coming in from him. He's just getting his natural expansion going. Is producing more units through a higher gateway, I think. More gateways. I think he has more gateways on the ground than Movie, although I might have misspotted that. I think Movie's had only 1, should have 2 at this point at least. Second simulator coming out there, so Movie might be thinking of putting on some pressure. Has an observer coming into that natural. Pretty equal units, so I don't think any significant pressure is going to come out to second and third gateway just now come down there for Movie, so he's going to be a little bit behind in units. Definitely not going to be able to push this, and just observers popping on the opposite side for Stats. Not good for any additional tech so far. Just getting some observers out there, being very careful to spot everything out. Getting the full scout. Does know that he's facing Reavers, so his higher unit can't really going to come in handy here. But if Movie utilizes his Reavers wall, which he very well can, he has extremely good Reaver micro. If he utilizes it well, he could really come ahead. Because a couple of Scarabs, no matter if your opponent has even 50% the army you do, you have 10 goons, he has 15. If you just a couple of clutch Scarabs will bring you back that game. Stats, meanwhile, going for Citadel of Dune, so he's going to try to get some storms out there. Only for him, I feel it's going to be late. It's not going to have the same result that it had in Shuttle versus Bisu. Bisu had his Reaver significantly later. He had more units on the ground, but his Reaver significantly later. He teched up a little bit later, and he seemed to kind of mess up his tech yet. Getting more tech than he wanted to, getting Citadel of Dune and Temple Archives alongside as well, getting a little bit of everything. While here Stats is actually getting his Temple Archives a little bit later than Shuttle was. They're not as early, a little bit behind. But he has a lot of army down there. But unfortunately for him, Movie's going to be able to utilize those Reavers pretty soon. We're going to see whether he's going to wait on his second one before he decides to go out there and try to push inside of Stats' base. Stats going to have more Dragoons, but as I say, he's not going to have any higher tech units to support. So the only thing Movie has to do is keep his Reavers in there, get some nice Scarabs off, and keep that Shuttle alive. And as long as that happens, he's going to be able to pick off that army of Stats. Stats even adding more gateways, just going to keep his macro up. On the opposite side, Movie, I think he still was 4. I'm going to see what he's adding in his fifth and sixth gateways yet. Movie, of course, a player that's very powerful on the macro, but also has very nice micro for himself as well. I think he was putting down Citadel Doom being put out right now. So he's also going to start working on higher tech. He has to just be very careful not be caught in a sort of a teching trap like Bisu was. Bisu kind of had a little bit too much tech than he really wanted. Only 4 gateways going to be pumping out him. Has that Shuttle in there. I assume he went back to pick up a second Reaver. So I'm going to see whether this is going to be the opportunity for him to go out there and do something aggressive. Try to go out there at the front, do some damage. Forge going to come up for Stats. So he's also going to try to get the upgrade advantage by getting that Forge a little bit earlier. He's going to have a higher army. Does have some high Templars out there. It's going to take him a little while to get some energy up there. So if Movie moves in right now, he's going to catch Stats before he gets those upgrades going. Forge and Citadel Dune for Stats for Movie as well. Does have the Temple Archives coming in. Movie going to move in here. Shuttle alongside a huge amount of Dragoons. 2 Reavers inside. Scarab is going to come out there and melt that. Completely melt that grouping of Dragoons there on the bottom. 1 Scarab come up. I think it actually hit those, but Movie coming on significantly ahead here. Still has very little else but Dragoons. But Shuttle, full of 2 Reavers, he's going to go and they're going to start getting a lot of Scarabs off. And unfortunately, no Storms up there, I think, yet for Stats. Not quite sure what has enough. Does have... Okay, wow. Storming himself. Wow, that was one... I assume that was one just very, very bad misclick. Because what it is, he stormed himself, then instantly morphed into an Archon to attempt to survive that. Stats going to come in from behind, but those Reavers melt all of his troops. And I think that was just one, yes, GG, one horrific misclick. there from Stats, I think that was, and just saw the look on his face 2 seconds after. It was like, oh, give me a break. So unfortunately for him, he's going to get knocked out here. So GG guys, Rich enough that's listening. Hope you enjoyed. Going to bring you the final match right now. Hey guys, Ranjin here, bringing you a StarCraft commentary. This is gonna be the final match of the round 32 Group H. Hana Daetoo MSL is gonna be a rematch of the second set between Bisu and Movie. On match point here at the bottom left-hand corner at the 7 o'clock in blue, it's gonna be Bisu. And at the upper right-hand corner at the 1 o'clock is gonna in red is gonna be. So it's gonna be Bisu against Movie. Movie's gonna take it in the movies. And Bisu is gonna sit there and be Bisu. Hi, I'm Bisu. Okay, I'm stopping this, I swear. So, 38, 39, 40. Although it's kind of addicting, you know, going movie. Things like that. I kind of understand why Nuke does it. Kind of funny the first time. You just gotta be careful not to ruin your throat, because it's kind of important as commentators to do that. I know that because about a year ago when I commentated, I was in a band, and in a band what I do is do that, things like that, and not very good for like when you go 2 hours on band practice, then come back home, you have to commentate for 2 more hours. Not only does your throat hurt like hell while you're commentating, the day after you're like, I cannot talk. Somebody help me. It's like, it's worse than that, actually. Just kind of happy I'm not in the band sometimes anymore. Well, technically. Anyway, Movie versus Bisu. These guys brought us an awesome set 2. Definitely a very nice PvP, back and forth, absolutely insane. So we're going to see what they do here. Movie preemptively putting down an anti-manner pylon inside of his own base, because Bisu last time manner pyloned him. So he wants to be careful this time around. Actually running with his probe behind him. Yeah, apparently checking behind the minerals, making sure there's no cheese coming at him, because he's being very suspicious. He's like, hey, this is Bisu. This is Bisu, okay? I am not trusting Bisu. And of course, Bisu is one of those guys. He has a cheese for every map that he pulls out once. He pulls it out once, and he wins with it. He's not going to be able to go for any manner pawns. He's actually going to try to pick off a probe with his own probe. Going to try to micro it around in there. Going to try to do some damage. Damage. Coming down behind the... Okay, I thought he was coming down behind the minerals and actually attacking that way. No, he's just going to steal a few minerals from Movie. Ha! 8 minerals that shall be denied to you. Ah. Movie on the opposite side going to get that probe inside. Beast a little bit behind in Cybernetics Core, actually a little bit behind in tech. Microing those units, so I'm going to get one single Zealot in there to try to force that probe back. I don't know how successful it's going to be. I think actually Movie yeah, definitely he did forgo his initial Zealot. Does not have a Zealot out there, so he's not mentioned to kill that probe at all. Movie Bisu mentioned to be quite a bit irritating with that, just coming in there. Ah ha ha, I kill you now. Finally now a Zealot in there for Movie. Try to fight that back. Bisu Movie just has to make sure he micros his own probe as well as Bisu, you know, get his Cybernetics Core going. So a little bit late units. Movie decided to go for Cybernetics Core before he went for his Zealot. Just slightly quicker Cybernetics Core, understandably that way. He's only going to produce one single Zealot at the start, most likely getting his Dragoon second. Bisu going to produce 2 Zealots and then get a Dragoon out there. So it's going to be a little while for either player to get those probes away. And of course, those probes, yeah, Movie's just going to have his a little bit sooner. I'm going to see whether Bisu tries to. I don't think he's not going to be able to spin it around. Once it gets killed by the Zealot. Wanted to spin it around, try to see if he could get another look at the Cybernetics Core, but that's not going to happen. Movie also going to pull back. He knows that the Dragoon is coming, so he'd rather just make sure his probes survive. I think he might have spotted that spinning Cybernetics Core, so I'm not altogether too sure. Bisu, we're going to put a pylon here at the bottom right hand. More for spotting drops than anything else, but it could also be used, of course, to hide something. But whoa. Movie going to be aggressive here. 3 gateways. Bisu has 1 additional one coming in, but 3 gateways coming out here. Was those 3 additional ones? Wow. So Movie's going to come out there very aggressive. Bisu readying himself for any sort of Reaver harassment or any sort of drops of any kind inside of his main. Just getting his goon range going. Going to try to get a decently sized goon army. Movie just going to have 3 gateways, so he's going to be a little bit later on the tech, but he's going to try to go in and push there with a heavier Dragoon number. So we're gonna see he's gonna try to catch Bisu in teching again. I can tell he's gonna try to catch Bisu in the middle of a tech, as Bisu's teching up for that very few seconds, for that short time period where Bisu is not pumping units or as many units, is getting his tech going, a slight delay. Meanwhile, he's also gonna get his expansion going. Movie's gonna be delayed on that expansion. Meanwhile, and because of those higher gateways and because he's going to be pumping more troops, he will be able to get that expansion, of course, eventually. But for now, he's going to be focusing a little bit more on troops, trying to go for aggressiveness, trying to go out there and do some damage. Has 4 Dragoons and a Zealot out there. Don't think this is quite the grouping he will need to fight Bisu back, because Bisu still has those 2 gateways very close to himself. Has a probe coming out. We're going to see what they actually finally now decides to put down some tech. Has a probe scout milling around. It's actually going to be pushed back. But those Dragoons, Bisu actually coming out. Okay, no, never mind. I thought that was Bisu's probe. Never mind. That was Movie's probe coming out there. I think as a spotter is going to be a robotics facility coming out there for Bisu. So he has that expansion. It's going to be a little bit vulnerable for him. Movie meanwhile going to go inside, so he doesn't have to fight up a ramp. Going to go inside that mineral only, so he's going to fight downwards. Bisu has 5 Dragoons, I think. Movie. Okay, 5 Dragoons to 5 Dragoons, and actually a Zealot advantage to Bisu at the moment. But there are more Dragoons coming in now. Bisu finally now adding in a 3rd gateway. A little bit late though, and Movie actually going to go for the aggressive action right here. Zealot coming in, that's going to get sniped. Bisu just has to be very careful to micro this. Has to try to snipe those Dragoons. More reinforcements coming down for Movie up the ramp. Bisu has to be very careful in what he does here, pushing forwards on those Dragoons in the northward zone. Zealot's trying to snipe Movie's own Dragoons because Movie's been splitting them a little bit too badly for him. And Bisu still has those Zealot in there, has his own Dragoons fighting his back. Movie's attack going to go down here. Zealot's becoming a critical factor, still staying in there, getting some extra shots off. Movie doing a very good job of microing his Dragoons, but in the end it did not help him. So he's looking in trouble. Bisu going to... Oh, beautiful play there for Bisu. Just standing his ground, getting a probe scout. Meanwhile, inside of Movie's base, he's in there like, oh, I see what you're doing. Movie getting his robotics facility up. Observatory coming up for Bisu before robotics support, but actually I feel since he got that scout in there, he actually could have gone for robotics support bay before he went for observatory. Just get the quicker reaver since he had the scout. But you know, who am I to question? He's gonna get one observer out there before he gets the reaver, and Shuttle still gonna be significantly ahead on the reaver. Movie's gonna also, of course, want to get. Gonna want to get that observer out there, but he's actually going to be pushed back a little bit. I don't think Bisu is going to have enough army on the ground to really go and push Movie inside of his base, but he's at the very least going to go out there and try to put some aggressive on. He has the expansion going. He has an economic advantage at this point as well. Does not have the units to fight toe-to-toe ahead. Those Zealots give him an advantage in that they can take some shots. They don't go in there, do some damage. Zealots always force you to micro your Dragoons a lot. Bisu now finally going to get pushed back. Has a Zealot in there as well. Micro his own Dragoons. Has his own Dragoon reforms coming in as well. Lost his Zealots, but now going to move in with his own. Still going to push Movie back. Getting his reinforcement just at the right time. Doing a good job of rallying his troops. Still don't think he's going to be able to push this all the way, but he's just desperately trying to snipe some Dragoons. Move back a little bit. Has an observer to come in to help him out. Actually going to apparently snipe. Yeah, just moved one Dragoon up at the front, sacrificing it so he makes sure that he could get the rest of them back safely. Just forcing a snipe on that. Nice play overall for Bisu. He's apparently skipping Reavers, just getting those observers out there. And going for Silver of Dune alongside some High Templar. On the opposite side, we see Movie going to go for Reavers. So, history so far, also just going to get his expansion just now. Bisu heavily ahead. He has 4 gateways pumping now. Doing a very good job economically wise. He should be getting a lot more troops going very soon, and more gateways and tech. But so far, history so far in this entire group has told us that High Templar, as long as if the game becomes a long game, High Templar seem to just give you a better advantage. We saw that in Shuttle versus Bisu. So I think that's what Bisu is trying to go for. He saw what High Templars did to him. He knows if he gets those in time. Meanwhile, that one single Reaver there going to make sure this push is... Meanwhile, the Bisu is not managing to push out. Movie's actually going to corner him in a little bit here. Hopefully for Bisu, he has more reinforcements coming in now, because that one single Reaver coming in at just the right time for Movie really is going to help him out. Now Bisu has to make sure that that Reaver does not do any sort of economic harassment. He has an economic lead. He has to make sure to keep that lead. One probe at the front also for Movie. He's going to come in here and barrel down. Has a Reaver coming in as well. Bisu does have some reinforcements going to pick off that. He's going to be able to snipe the Reaver and not get scared. Oh man, a lot of his Dragoons get hit by Scarabs. Another Scarab going to come up there. Going to fire a few volleys on that Reaver, but still Movie was absolutely beautiful Scarabs. Oh man, absolutely crushing those Dragoons. Bisu has a lot of gateways pumping right now, but he really needs more units to get a bunch of Dragoons. His natural expansion now going to be heavily Oh man, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He does not want to lose that Nexus. Losing that Nexus will be absolutely horrible for him. Has some Dragoons and a Zealot moving up north. There is that one single Reaver there, which is really doing massacring him here. Oh, getting a couple of shots on the shell. Not going to manage to snipe it though. Oh man, his Nexus taking a lot of heavy fire. More reinforcements coming in from moving. Bisu is going to be forced to sacrifice his natural because he just does not have enough here. Oh man, there's a bunch of gateways. They're not pumping. High Templar is probably coming up. They're not going to have Storm for a while. So Bisu economic advantage at this point nullified. This is a bad position to be here. Got caught with it in the air because Movie basically caught him teching. Caught him teching again. Moving into that Reaver. That Reaver, is he going to be able to snipe? Bisu moving in close. Getting all of his Dragoons ripped to pieces by Scarabs yet again. Has a DT out there, which is at the very least going to help because Movie did the dangerous act of not going for observers, just going straight to Shuttle and Reavers. Meanwhile, just now going to pick up his Expo, but Bisu just going to try to push him back as far as he can with a DT. Oh, DT coming in. Had to basically skip High Templars, go for DTs in case, instead, just to save himself a little bit, just to make sure the Movie does not penetrate all the way inside of his base. But still, Bisu, wow, that was very bad for him. Very, very bad for him overall. Needs to go back and reestablish the natural as he's doing right now. Is very Zealot focused right now. Not a lot of gas, not enough gas production to continue. Also because he had to give some gas to get those DTs out there. Movie still does not have a lot of gateways out there. Only 3 because he's just not getting his expansion. But Bisu's got, despite having a lot more gateways, can't be pumping from all of them because also he's getting that expansion going. So he's going to take a little while before he can start fully macroing like crazy. And Movie's done a good job with the forces he has. He did not lose that much in that attack. Just pushed back, and when he felt, okay, I've done enough damage. I picked that expansion. I've equalized the game very well. Maybe even giving myself a troop advantage. So I'm going to push back, get my expansion, play a little bit safer, macro up, then just win with macro. So this is unfortunate for Bisu. He's actually going to move out here as Zealot speed. Dragoons and the Dark Templar are out, but there are observers out there for Movies. So unless Bisu comes in with Zoro observers to snipe the observers on Movies, he's not really going to be overall too successful with this attack of his. I don't really even think whether he's gonna. Don't even know if he's actually gonna try to be very aggressive for this. Don't overall know if he's gonna manage. He does have one of his own observers out there, so he might manage to snipe an observer and do damage with the TT, and that way. I think he's gonna be going for that. There's the observer in the air. DT gonna come in. Couple of Reavers in there with Scarabs. Oh man, Bisu gonna have to push back. Still has that DT, but that's almost dead. One more Scarab will come off. Hit even more. No duds here for Movie. When it's workers, it's duds. When it's Dragoons, no. The Scarabs will hit, no matter how far the Dragoons try to flee. They will definitely hit. We also see that Movie's taking a bit more, getting his forge up. I think BC actually had a forge up significantly sooner than Movie, but hasn't been upgrading any weapons upgrades simply because his economy was shot very heavily. He does have his expansion coming up. Is finally mining at that natural expansion again. So I think despite Movie just has a better troop out there. Bisu has some nice decent moves. Is he going to be able to get rid of these Reavers? These 2 Reavers, such a critical factor for Movie so far. Really what's bringing him this game. These 2 Reavers, Bisu deciding to forego that and honestly coming out not too well for him. If he manages to get a lot of High Templar out there, if he manages, is going to come with their snipes. 1 Reaver does not manage to get the second snipe, does not manage to pick off the Shuttle. Is he going to manage to pick off that Reaver? And they're going to go in there, going to try to snipe the Shuttle. 1 more shot on the Shuttle! Oh, God, 1 more shot on the Shuttle would have taken the Shuttle out. Oh, man. Oh, Bisu, poor Bisu, going to be pushed back into his natural yet again. Has some Zealots that are back to support, so he's going to try to push this back. So, biggest opportunity for Bisu to get back into this game proper would be to get a huge amount of High Templar and a huge amount of Storms. See a High Templar actually on the opposite side also come up for Movie, so he might be thinking of some High Templar as well. But Bisu really needs to get some High Templar out there, needs to get some heavy damage units that do some damage to a large amount of groups. And in PvP, players generally don't micro their Dragoons very much out of the range of Storms, so Storms can become extremely effective. Just get enveloped Dragoons and Storms can get over a huge amount of groups of Dragoons and really melt them. But really, those Reavers have been absolutely critical for Movie. Bisu going to expand at the minute only. He knows he's behind a little bit now. And he's behind a little bit in troop cap, behind a little bit in economy. He did have that base up for significantly longer than Movie. Movie just now getting his 4th to 6th gateway up. But still, I think Bisu had that mining for quite a while, so even if he lost his base, I still think he's not in a horrible position, not in a position where he can't get back. But unfortunately, that tech advantage for Movie really shining through. He lost one Reaver, but still overall in a very strong position. Bisu's going to definitely try to get that economic lead back, going to try to keep up macro-wise, going to try to get utilize his mineral only in that manner. Also put up a pile on there, so I assume he's going to try to use some cannons alongside to help himself defend. He really needs to get himself into full-on macro mode. 2 photon cannons coming up and that mineral only to help defend, but really needs to get himself full macro mode. Movie also going to pick up that mineral only Bisu a little bit ahead of him. And High Templar is actually out there, so that's the plan for Movie. He's going to go for High Templar. I've seen this utilized before, not because he has very nice, splash damage units in these Reavers. So since he went for that tech, why bother, getting those Storms alongside? Just instead going to get some Archons out there, which up close and personal can really rip through a lot of forces. If they get in, they can rip through Zealots to try to come in closer to your Dragoons. A couple of shots on those, and a few shots on those, and they get ripped to pieces. And they also help in if they get close to groups. And if you manage to get them amongst probes, that's horrible for them. It's going to be a nano batter here. Couple of Reavers, Archon, Dragoons as well. Bisu with nothing but Zealots that get ripped to pieces. That's his own Archons coming into play. But I don't think he has rolling off those Reavers, really, yet again, being an absolute critical factor. Bisu is going to still stay in this game. Observer's fallen for Movie there, but still not a very good position for Bisu to be in. I think he actually shot down the... no, okay, I thought he shot down. I was actually thinking Observer dying, but I thought he for a second shot down and Shuttle. But Bisu yet again coming in behind. Don't know why you decided to go for Archons. Bisu needs Storm much more than Movie does. Bisu absolutely requires Storms. Adding in more gateways now. Going to be his 7th and 8th, but he absolutely requires some Storms out there. Both players getting a lot of Zealots out there. I'm not sure whether either one. They both have Forges, but I don't think they've actually been focusing on weapons upgrades. Though Bisu does have weapons 1, so he got that early on. Since then, not really much else. And I'm not sure. I think Movie might have gotten weapons 1. I think it's up there now. Bisu finally working on weapons 2, but I don't know if Movie got any more upgrades since then. Also working on weapons 2, I think, right now. No, okay, just working on weapons 1. So he got that Forge up earlier on, but he didn't really use it for much right away. So Bisu going to be ahead in weapons and the weapons upgrades. That we're going to see whether he manages to utilize it well, because it is going to give him a little bit of a troop advantage, but still not having the tech is really coming out badly for him. Bisu, I think, going to try to expand at the upper left-hand corner, going to try to pick up the 3rd gas. That way he's going to be able to get up a fairly high-tech army. He's going to be able to afford a bunch of High Templars, going to be able to afford at least utilize a few of his gateways for nothing but High Templars. Because a few Storms finally getting those High Templars out there. And for this time I'm hoping he's not going to morph them into Archons, because those High Templar really are going to be what will bring back the game. Just needs to force another engagement in a wide open area, get those High Templar in there, envelop Movie's entire army in Storms, beat that army, then go in there and push in. That's what Bisu needs to do if he wants to win this game. Movie, meanwhile, he just needs to play as he does. He needs to continue winning those battles, utilize those forces. High Templars getting caught. Why High Templar goes down. Another High Templar staying in there. No Storms coming up from him. Bisu has a lot of Dragoons in there, but still no Storms. Reavers still in there for Movie, utilizing them very well. Is there going to be a Storm in there for Bisu? Nice clump of Dragoons out there. Movie just waiting to be stormed. More High Templars there at the back for Bisu. Don't think they have any energy, so Bisu going to be pushed back all the way to his mineral only. He cannot afford to get pushed back all the way down to his natural expansion. One Storm will bring him back. Is he going to get a Storm on this? High Templars sitting there waiting. Reavers shooting all the Dragoons down. High Templars moving in at the front. Are there going to be Storms or not? 2 High Templar going down to a Scarab. 1 Storm going to come on top of some of the Reavers and the Dragoons. But Bisu losing a lot just when he lost those 2 High Templars. I think they were very close to getting some Storms there. But now Movie going to be able to do a lot here. Has a lot of Dragoons as an Archon. Will be able to get that Nexus down. I think Bisu looking like he's in a lot of trouble. Those Reavers coming. Wow, those Reavers just paying dividends absolutely for Movie here. It's actually beautiful Reaver play so far. Has lost a single Reaver this entire time. Scarab's coming in at the right time, at the right place, all the time for him. And Bisu in a lot of trouble. Doesn't really seem like I'm going to be screaming Bork power in the end of this game. There's one single cannon there in the upper left-hand position. You can try to shoot some of this down, but it's going to go down momentarily. Bisu did not expect. Thankfully for him, he did not put up a Nexus there, else he would have been in a lot of trouble. Still some Dragoons going out there, milling out, try to engage that one single Archon, but Bisu just does not have the troops. Unfortunately, I'm moving some of his probes towards the lower right-hand position a little bit early. But still, he's mining off 3 bases now. Going to be mining off a 4th one as it pops up. And Bisu only mining off 2, and I don't know, never mind, mining off 1. He doesn't have anything in his main left anymore, so he's only mining his natural expansion. So economically, he's starving, and he can only produce a little bit. And this entire game, I think, this would have gone completely differently if Bisu had decided to go for Reavers. If he had Reavers during that initial engagement, he wouldn't have been pushed back so far. He would have been in a much better position. But now, Movie is inside of his base, killing his probes, killing everything. GG from Bisu. Movie moves out to the round of 16, and Bork gets conquered. Absolutely outplayed. So I get to look forward to not screaming Bork for the rest of this MSL. It's always the Ro32 that kills my hopes. No, well, what am I gonna do? GG guys, ranching up. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Yes, hello. Is this at I Hate My Life and I Don't Want to Live Incorporated? Yes. I would like to order your services, please. Yes. What do you offer? I see. And could you tell me the differences between that? Yes. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. I would like the premium package, please. Yes, the works. No, you don't have to make it look like a suicide. I'd rather just save, my loved one some grief. Yeah. No, you know what? Just go ahead and surprise me. I don't mind. Yeah. No, I don't mind. I'll make sure to carry documentation around with me, some ID and stuff. Okay. No, I don't mind. I don't mind just walking around town and just suddenly falling dead. I have no problem with that. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you very much. How would you like me to pay for this? Oh, PayPal works. Okay, thank you very much. I'll be sure to pay you then within 2 days. Yes. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your services. Yes, thank you. Goodbye.